Hey there, everybody. I hope you're having a good day. Happy Wednesday, or whatever day it is for you in your little corner of the world. Been having a pretty good day in my corner of the world. I've been thinking a lot about the people that I have met that have impacted me either in a positive or a negative way, or in a more maybe not in a positive or in a negative way, but in a way that invited me to grow. And I guess that's a positive thing, but it's from observing their behavior, I was able to observe myself and therefore change a couple of things in my life. And I've been thinking about people that I've met, and I've had the great fortune of meeting many amazing individuals, and their souls are so, I hate to sound cliche, but so beautiful and so pure. And there are people out there like that, but there are other people that are on the spiritual path, and they, how do I put it? They want to be more wise than they really are. And they pretend, to a certain extent, sometimes act ahead of their actual depth. And I mean, I've been a culprit of this. And I have observed myself, like, I think it's natural for us to want to be insightful, or for somebody to want to be interesting. At least for me, it's gonna sound weird or maybe a little bit narcissistic in a way, but I want to inspire others, but not in a way that would benefit me, so to speak, or so that people can look up to me, but in a way that, I guess, through a connection with me, I hope that if I can remind them that this is all a game and life is so beautiful and consciousness is so beautiful and thank you for existing, and just having them or inspiring others to remember who they really are. But it's not really for my benefit. It's because the more people know, the more people see that this is all a cosmic joke, the more harmony, or I guess the more awake we become, and we start to lucid dream in this game, and do beautiful things, and create a society that maybe not sterilize society in a way that is harmony, because there's always going to be something that creates disruption. Like, maybe it doesn't even have to be political disruption, but it could be a natural disaster, or it could be just, I don't know, an asteroid falling to the earth or something. And there's always going to be things that disrupt the harmony, and that's important because it's part of the remembering. Pain and peace and joy, the only way we can know what joy is through sadness. The only way we can know what love is through hate. So there's always going to be, in this game, in this dimension, I believe that there's always going to be like a remembering aspect, where you're going to have to accept the yang. And the word isn't really accept. Of course, you have to learn to accept, but that wasn't necessarily the word that I was looking for. It was more of, you're going to have to move through sadness or the yang, whatever you consider a yang, or a more uncomfortable state of mind. And it's really not a polarity. It's just, oh my God, I'm going to get into that rabbit hole, right? But so anyway, people, going back to, there are certain people that are energetically incongruent, where they seem very wise, or they dress wise, they dress like a guru, or they dress in a way that conveys a spirituality, and they talk about all of these platitudes and stuff, but they don't really embody their wisdom. That's what I'm talking about when I say energetic incongruence. Like people that don't really embody what they preach. And I mean, you don't only see that in the spiritual community, you see that in everything, everywhere, in religions, right? Evangelical pastors, talking about giving, and all they're doing is basically stealing other people's money and bamboozling them by giving people hope, but in a way that benefits them and their life, to make their lives easier, if that makes sense. Anyway, so you don't only see that in the spiritual community, you see that with pastors and priests and all of that. And I'm not going to sit here to say, oh my God, I'm so spiritually enlightened, because I'm not. Trust me, I have a lot of things that I'm trying to figure out, and a lot of illusions that I'm trying to find that I don't even know about, and just trying to break free from those illusions. But you can definitely tell when somebody's a phony, right? You can tell when there's something off. You just have to observe them. Like, what's that guy on the internet, Sad Guru? Yeah, scammer. What's the other guy that acts all enlightened? See, I can't even remember the names. I remember faces, but Osho. Yeah, Osho. I never really got into any of their lectures or talks, but I do know a bit of background on the Osho case, and I've listened to some of Sadhguru's talks, and he never answers the question that the individual has posed. Like he'll have seminars or something like that, and or satsangs, I think that's what they're called, and somebody will ask a question, and he goes on about a subject that is not even related to what the person asked. And so anyway, and he is a scammer. Oh my God, I could get into Sadhguru, but this is not the point. The point is that there are people that are sometimes so desperate that they will fall prey to these individuals that will take advantage of them. And although what they're saying has some truth to it, they taint that truth because of their behavior, their irresponsible behavior, because they're using other people's suffering as a way to climb up the ladder, And so that really bothers me. But also I've met people that are energetically incongruent, where, they seem very nice and they seem friendly, but there's something about them. And I don't want to, sometimes, yes, it's the fact that maybe you just don't like somebody. But for me, and I'm not here to toot my own horn, but I feel like I'm a pretty friendly person. I'm very amiable. I try to include others because I have been in situations where I've been ostracized and forced to be isolated from others because, people can be cliquey. And so I don't want anybody to ever feel the way I felt, right? Because feeling like you're ostracized or not wanted is not a nice feeling. And so I try to include everybody, but I'm the kind of person that I can be very, very friendly, but if I don't like somebody, I'm not going to force myself to be friendly. I'll be cordial, I'll be respectful, I'll, exchange whatever dialogue I have to exchange with them, like, hi, yes, okay, yes, right? But I won't go out of my way to be fake and just try and be friends with them or because I just can't act like that. I can't put up a face that I don't feel on the inside. And really, when I smile or when I cry or when I'm happy or laughing, it comes from the inside. It's really strange. I just feel the joy or the sadness really deep within my chest, and it just comes from there, as opposed to when I don't feel that way, like when it's not coming from the chest area, I'll smile like this, like, yeah, right, like, and so I can't even keep the smile because I'm not feeling it in my heart. So yeah, I think people can tell when they're not my cup of tea, or when I just don't want to associate myself with them. And that's okay. It's okay to not want to make friends with everybody as long as you're respectful and cordial. But usually I feel that way towards people, that there is some kind of energetic incongruence there. Like there's something about it, and you have to trust your instincts sometimes. Sometimes you have to sit with yourself and ask, am I being judgmental or am I being closed-minded, that I can't accept this person because maybe they're different than me? Okay, then that's, that could be a possibility. But if that's not the case, then sometimes that repulsion or that aversion can come from some kind of energetic incongruence that you feel, and you have to trust your instincts as well. And that's why you have to kind of practice trusting yourself, which is hard, but little by little, by observing how you feel, why you feel that way. There was a great book I read a couple of years ago called The Gift of Fear, and it talked about how you have to, the reason why most individuals get hurt, most of these individuals that got hurt had a gut feeling that the other person was off a bit, but they chose not to trust their instincts, and something bad happened. And I'm not saying it's their fault for not trusting their instincts. All of us, I think, have fallen prey to not trusting ourselves, not trusting our instincts, because the society that we've built it wants us to not trust our instincts, right? So Anyway, the book talked about how observing the feelings and how the subconscious mind is taking in bits of information that you're not conscious of, but the subconscious mind is taking bits of information and seeing incongruences, and from there, that's where you get your feeling of anxiety, feeling of fear, etc., etc. Anyway, there are some people that, there's just something off with them, or they act wiser than they are, or they think they know something and they don't really embody it. All I have to say is just be careful out there, because in the end, we live in the real world. And by real world, I mean in this game. We don't know how long we're going to be here, how long we're going to play this game. Some people play this game of life for 5 years. Some people play this game of life for 30 years. Some people play this game of life for 110 years, right? You don't know how long, none of us know how long we're going to be here. But we still have to be wise about the challenges of this game and play wisely, right? With what we know, and also balancing what we know with also going into the moment with an open mind. Yeah, just be wise about how you're going to play this game. But there are more, I have to say, there are more good people than there are bad, but part of this game is also learning to trust yourself again. So I guess using those experiences as part of the remembering. That was my 2 cents of the day. I hope you trust yourself always. Okay? Peace and love. Bye.